Hello and welcome back here to HGC North America, where we find HeroesHearth Esports one game away from locking in the North American standings, looking towards the playoffs next weekend. Jay-How, what are your thoughts so far? What are your feelings as we watch that unfold? Because it's been surprisingly competitive between these two teams, even though, you know, the 2-0 score doesn't kind of paint that picture.
It all came down to the Malthael versus Blaze and the lack of rotations from HeroesHearth. And you wonder, is that HeroesHearth maybe letting their foot off the gas, or is that LFM actually just stepping it up? Because we know they are more than capable of doing that. For HeroesHearth, the Jaina Phoenix, double squishy backline. We've seen it from multiple teams. Doesn't always have the strongest of showings. I don't know if that was a matter of control, the Dragonshire factor of like, hey, look, how do we really rotate this? But LFM had control until the very end, so we might see more of the same. Again, it's going to come down to Battleground composition, I think, obviously.
Yeah, and last Battleground, or at least the Battleground ban on the side of HeroesHearth was towards that sky, so we can't ever go to that, you know, LFM favorite there. Maybe we'll be going to Infernal Shrines. We'll figure it out. Game number 3, HeroesHearth taking us to Towers of Doom. No map selection here for the members of LFM.
Well, I mean, LFM, we've seen them start to play the Hanzo more and more. I feel Hanzo is very good on this Battleground. A lot of structures to get that scatter arrow off, a lot of poke potential, a lot of stall potential, and then maybe play around that. They could go to Genji again, something that also works well in this Battleground. Something to also consider is whether we're going to get a Tracer. We have not seen a Tracer yet. I'd say that this is one of Tracer's better Battlegrounds, so we'll also see that. Junkrat, obviously a big factor here, but the Jaina in particular. Jaina either looks really good or sometimes you're just not sure. It's a mixed bag, but the amount of Jaina that we've seen from HeroesHearth, it's looked strong overall, but I'm starting to wonder after what I saw Gale Force struggle with, and, you know, if you don't get that going, Dreadnought, it can sometimes be more of a hindrance than not.
Jaina's biggest conundrum is, I feel like, still that trade-off of the damage versus the kill potential, or the damage on the wave clear or the kill potential. But the biggest qualm that kind of comes with that is every other pick you would get that caters towards the kill potential, that means, well, then why don't I have Jaina on my wave clear, right? But if you commit to somebody else to make up for the wave clear, then I have two mages. That's kind of that awkward trade-off that I feel like most of the teams end up facing. We see that Phoenix being that weird hybrid, synerging with the slow attempt to be able to make up for that, but it doesn't seem to have near the weight necessary, at least not so far, you know, because Phoenix, even though he's been a terror in the world of solo queue, he's not holding his own, at least in North American HGC.
I really wonder now, because we saw the Blaze, we've seen a lot of Blaze priority for McIntyre, and justifiably so, but now I start to wonder, Towers of Doom, Dahaka, do you try and make those early invades? Will LFM try and play around that? If not, the Malthael seemed like a reasonable option for the most part. There was that one slip up on the Dragon Knight coming down, but I mean, you go on a pale horse and get down there just as quickly.
We'll find out. Draft about to unfold here between these two teams. LFM will still be the first pick because HeroesHearth was the map selector. We've seen them, what, Game 1, they banned the Hanzo. Game 2, ridding on the Medivh. Game 3, I'm going to assume it's going to be the Medivh out of those two. If not, something a bit more tier 3 like that Tracer you were talking about. But honestly, that's a name I've been afraid to say, Jay-How. I'm surprised you had the confidence to say it because it's been so non-existent here in North America. I've just been like, I'm not going to talk about her until we play her.
Don't tell Cure that.
Yeah.
Cure's like, I still got it. I still got it. Again, compositional, you know, flaws, I think, at times. It's why we say tier 3. But, you know, there are some counters towards Tracer. And, you know, if those show up, it's very hard to pick into that. Medivh going to be the ban here. See if we play around that Genji again. We might get the Malfurion to go with it. Maiev, Medivh, of course, are general bans. But will it be the Malfurion again? Compositionally, LFM, they looked fine last game. But see if they want to let the Garrosh through.
This is a map where I would like I think I would like the Malfurion over the Garrosh, just because Diablo rises in power quite a bit on a battleground like this, especially if we're talking about that Tracer being a problem, to where I go, you know, if we're willing to do it on a map like Dragonshire where control over the 4-man's worth it, then it's got to be worth it on a map like Towers too. Commit to the pick on Malfurion. Stukov's decent on this battleground because of his interrupt capabilities, but it doesn't stand out that much.
Some potential. Garrosh, Malfurion. I don't think that they have to go a first pick Genji if they want the Genji. They're going to go Garrosh, changing it up a bit.
This is one of those moments that I like that we get a mix-up from this team, especially down 0-2 within a series, but I really wish I could just go, I want to know the exact thought process of the Malfurion versus the Garrosh and Dragonshire versus the Garrosh Malfurion in this type of situation, because I want to hear, you know, what is it? And it very much could be game one, try, see if the Garrosh is still a risk. Okay, Garrosh is still a problem. Now we're going to take it away. Not worth that kind of commitment, but sometimes it's not that easy, not that simple, and it's a lot more, you know, this guy doesn't like this in this trade-up.
I really wonder, you mentioned the Diablo already. It's something that we know Ishbu likes to play. Diablo into Garrosh tends to do fairly well. Now I wonder, is HeroesHearth willing to commit one of their early picks towards the Diablo? Again, we've seen a lot of high priority on the Jaina when it does make it into their rotation, but with Hanzo being let through against a Garrosh, that single target focus, maybe we'll see a little bit of a change up. But again, HeroesHearth has been making a statement to say, we're not playing Hanzo. I feel like if you're still trying to hide different things and you want to...
It's got to be the Malf something. Hanzo? Dahaka? What? A little bit bolder there. I expected still that support priority because HeroesHearth has been willing to commit to it so high up, especially with the Garrosh taken off the table. And they're willing to flex back towards the Hanzo. This is one of those, like, I'm not surprised to see these heroes picked by HeroesHearth, but it's just one of those, it's been pretty clear, as you've said, it's almost been like a statement on the side of HeroesHearth, how much they've been willing to avoid specific picks and priorities.
Yep. And
now they're willing to at least slightly commit back to that.
Now, LFM does have decisions to make. Obviously, you know, we've seen the Genji in the past, but now it's where do we put T? That's always been kind of the biggest question mark. If he's not on the Hanzo, you know, we've seen a lot of Tychus, a lot of Li Ming, some change up here and there, but...
Could get him on the Jaina again, right, with the Garrosh here.
Yep.
Ah, man. That's one of those moments where I always struggle. With a player and the hero pool catering to the hero pool versus objective strength, my brain always goes, your hero pool is objectively meta, and that is how it functions. It's not the other way around. Sonya got to be picked up for Hao, and then Rhaegar. Interesting choices. I like the fact that we do see a burst healer being committed to on the side of LFM, rather than going with like maybe the Stukov, because Stukov does not cater towards a struggling position, and let's be real here, LFM typically is on the back foot in majority of these type of situations. Also, if you're going to commit to the Sonya, you need a burst healer to make up for it. Works pretty well with Garrosh too.
The one thing that I'm going to be interested now in, you can go into the scatter arrow build. We've seen less priority on that since the Sapper changes in terms of their respawn time. But with Hanzo, single target focus, this is not the chain heal of old where the priority target receives more healing. It's now an evenly balanced chain heal. And if you're trying to focus down that Garrosh, you go Redemption at 1 and that armor reduction at level 7. All of a sudden, we're looking at some pretty killer damage onto that Rhaegar, yes, you can get that totem down. Yes, you can get that chain heal out. But in terms of that single target priority, doesn't really come until level 10.
Yeah, and Lightning Shield's not the Lightning Shield it used to be.
Yeah.
Genji will be the ban here for HeroesHearth Esports. Be a lot of melee, but also not too surprising. Pretty offensive composition if LFM wanted to commit in that direction. Also, you know, Hanzo versus Genji is not fun. I know, because I got, you know, bodied by Kira just the other day. I was the Hanzo, he was the Genji. It felt real bad in Hero League. Just absolutely annihilated. It just, he gets so much pressure on a Hanzo so fast. LFM, though, what do we want to see them ban out?
So that's what I'm wondering, like, where does that bring in?
I go Warrior. You got to go Warrior, because right now if you commit to one of the supports, see, this is where I disagree on draft strategy pretty heavily with that ban. I can see the argument of Stukov doesn't work as well with the Dahaka and Hanzo as the Malfurion would, but it's still it's a scary beast.
I'm just trying to figure out where our second one. We could kick it old school, go Uther or Tassadar, really enable the Hanzo, and then maybe get a Diablo or an ETC down the road. But I feel that HeroesHearth, they're going to be willing to maybe do something a little bit different. It's kind of what they do, is that they'll get onto something, play it for a bit, then change it up, and then maybe they'll sneak it back in. Maybe now's the moment. Just close it out 3-0. Maybe the last game gave them a little bit of scare, go back to some old strategies that you know work so well.
The biggest thing would be, I mean, you would want more kill potential within your 4 because you'll have a global, so you want a lot more threatening of a 4-man. But with the Garrosh already taken away, we talk about the trade-off. Do you go to the Diablo, excuse me, not the hero I expected, a false stat, double global. Are we going to go back to the 1-3-1 that we saw HeroesHearth willing to commit to with the false stat Dahaka, double global, split pressure on other sides while the 3-man kind of flutters between the 2 lanes? interesting map choice to make it happen, especially with pretty successful laning. And actually, if LFM sniff that out, identify it, and it has a problem, they can redirect their draft very comfortably so far.
Yeah, Sonya, if you're Sonya, you're not going to be able to push out that top lane much because you're susceptible to that instant fly-in. And then all of a sudden, yes, you can get your whirlwind. Yes, you can kind of heal up. But if you're not hitting those heroes and they keep proper distance, you get dragged on by that Dahaka. All of a sudden, you're a dead Sonya. So there is some play around there. Curious how we're going to see the fall stat. I mean, generally, seasoned marksman build will be there. If you look at Garrosh, Giant Killer plays out well, but Sonya with the block charges. Curious how we'll end up at LFM. Where do we see our backliners?
Sonya would work, or excuse me, Jaina would be so good with the Sonya, Rhaegar, and Garrosh. Ariel, it's got to be a hyper carry now, not a Jaina, a Phoenix.
So one of the things that I was able to talk about earlier, because LFM did run an Ariel, I think it was Battlefield of Eternity. The Aware last year during the Open Division was so well known on the Ariel, that so well respected, it was banned out in the Open Division playoffs at the end of last year, playing into the Crucible, things like that. He's so good on it. So I imagine he'll be on the Ariel. I'm curious who's going to be on the Rhaegar. That'll likely be Draded. He's kind of been that flex hero on that back, leaving T to be on that back line. So an interesting pickup, to say the least.
I think I want Tyrael as the last pick for the Warrior now on the side of HeroesHearth Esports. If not, I feel like, again, that Diablo's got to be the go-to. You could Johanna, but I feel like it just does not have the crowd control necessary in this type of situation unless you're going to all-in shutdown on the Phoenix just through the blind. I would like the Tyrael, though, to cater to the 1-3-1 that they have going for themselves with the Uther Hanzo Tyrael tri-lane. They go with the Diablo still, though. It's going to be less successful of a laning situation, but team fight-wise, debatably even better of a pick.
Look, Mighty Gust, 99% probability you're going to pick it. If there's no Mighty Gust, Phoenix, Sonya, they auto-attack pretty well. You got yourself double support, one of those being Rhaegar.
Are you suggesting Bloodlust?
Maybe.
I need a yes or a no. That you don't kind of suggest Bloodlust. You either suggest it or not.
I was alluding to the possibility that yes, I am saying that if there is no Gust.
Yeah, if there is no Gust. Name the last time you saw a Hinterlands Blast come out. The old shock and awe.
Just, was it yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh, I saw it today. I saw it recently.
Yeah, it's been played recently.
Somewhere. Maybe in my own games. I don't know. It's a miniature planet cracker.
I just feel like, I mean, maybe the damage argument very much could be there, but even if we did see a major Bloodlust situation go off, I'm just like, I still struggle to see it winning these team fights.
Oh yeah, trust me, me too. I'm just trying to figure out how the Rhaegar Ariel has evolved here. It's not what I expected. I'm sitting here thinking double backline of some sort. Also, we're getting Wingman to play around that global, play around that single target damage. If you can get that onto a Garrosh, if he has trouble engaging on you, just press W and dance around him and say, come get me.
What it also does is on a map like this where the sappers are such a valuable objective, I mean, the backdoor capability for Falstad and the split push pressure you can put on is, I mean, almost unmatched, really, whenever you go into the Wingman. Just go ahead, backdoor one, steal it at an optimal time, and then go and fly away. Normally, you're like, well, that trade-off isn't worth it. Why is it different on this map? And it's like, well, because even if you backdoor your opponent's sappers, unlike the Giants that will just pretty much suicide to the front wall, the sappers want to suicide to the front wall. They love to do that and get maximum amount of value no matter what point in time you end up getting the capture.
Just Ariel Rhaegar. You know, this is multiple Ariel games. It will be Draded on the Rhaegar as kind of predicted. So the Aware on the Ariel. You know he wants this hero to be back in the meta. So many support changes. Again, Ariel was buffed, I think, at the end of March. So there was some hope that we would get more hope from Ariel. See what I did there?
I see what you did there. Yeah. I'm watching what LFM's doing here. Nice full collapse. Huge shout out to Ishbu there with that shadow charge in, but it might cost him his life. The healing coming out from BBJ is not going to be enough. First blood here over to LFM. I was going to say the shadow charge was so good because it made sure that BBJ was not the man going to be flipped into the team and instead made it to where he had to be the noble sacrifice. But He was the actual sacrifice. He did not have enough HP to survive that situation either.
Low stack Diablo always feels bad. You're like, man, I'm this big hulking character. Why am I so squishy? And then you're like, I have no souls.
Sappers picked up for LFM. Do they go for the invade?
I don't think they can. Honestly, because the global on the other side of the Dahaka, you can actually see that the threat is there. If you actually watch the minimap, Dahaka's soft rotating down. He's not using his global so that he can be there just in case. He can go in to save his global to get back to the top in case he needed to defend. You're not giving anything up in that top and mid lane. So very heads-up play. Sonya might be getting ganked right now.
Drag out from McIntyre, gonna land. Brings it back, but not enough damage there to get a kill, at least not yet. Have you noticed HeroesHearth Esports? This is the second game we get this from them. They're one of the most fluid laners that we have out of all the teams here in North America. If not, I think it's pretty fair to say probably the most fluid laning. They're running 3-2 splits consistently rather than a standard 1-4. We've seen the, the 1-1-3s, 1-2 or 2-1-2s, but what they have with this 3-2 has been, kind of one of a kind. Indomitable use, just get that groundbreaker. Not going to be enough there to get the kill into Arthalon. He's going to be forced to back at 15 seconds out from first altar phase. Double global in the hands of HeroesHearth, so just keep track of where we end up seeing this Falstad fly. And do you know what? It is full static build.
Yeah, I'm looking at that. Look, I love the static changes. Coming forward, obviously we've got the changes to the Wingman and to the hammering going into that extra damage. Or the mana reduction, or the mana return on that. Dahaka's actually going to brush stalk her in. Figgy, he's going to get charged into a wall. McIntyre misses the tongue, however, onto T. Figgy receiving that double support healing. He's going to live a little bit longer.
Really good containment strike there from Aware, making sure to stop the CC chain of HeroesHearth Esports. HeroesHearth, though, with the double global transition down, is able to hit the last couple of shots. Arthalon's going to get slowed by that plasma cutter. Nothing gained here for HeroesHearth, though. Or, excuse me, LFM. They're going to go ahead and just clear up the wave. Mac did end up getting caught in rotation. Eventually, somebody's got to go match that Sonya.
Yeah, they're losing a decent amount of experience. You can actually see a tremendous jump there. It was about 6 1/4, and now, getting a lot of that push in that with Sonya has enabled almost a full level lead. You'll be able to soak back a little bit with that wave plus the ensuing wave there, but so far this composition for HeroesHearth, I mean, again, struggling to get off the ground similar to their game last game.
But LFM's composition is one that should thrive in the laning situation with just how good their tri-lane is. It should be able to pull ahead. It's just whether or not it can hold its own in the team fights and survive the immediate burst that T is going to be under here, as he is the main damage source for the squad.
Okay, look, I don't want to get too wild, but we got Shot of Fury. Whenever you hit that seismic slam, your next auto does more damage.
Interesting.
Just saying, that does play more towards the auto attack playstyle.
It does.
Like, I know it still sounds implausible at this point. Even I don't believe it, but a man can dream.
We're sticking to the dream here with Shot of Fury. Shot of Fury also is more prone to playing to, leap in general.
Yes,
just because having the
true.
opportunity to not rely on your Fury bar on when you can initiate or not. You just have the opportunity to go ahead, pop the passive, be like, oh, thank you for this Fury.
Boomerang way too hard to pass up. And it's actually, if you're going Wingman at level 7, yes, there is the Lightning build, but getting that Boomerang allows you to soak minions faster so that you get more Wingman stacks so that you can bribe faster and get that extra bonus damage on your lightning rod. So Boomerang, the pickup, obviously very strong, enabling a lot of burst potential as well as you get later in and get that stacked up. Currently, Wingman stacks, I'll let you know in just 1 second. Currently, 10%. 10% bonus, so only 2 so far.
Figgy not able to hit that groundbreaker over this collapse. I will say LFM, over the laning situation, has not found themselves in a position to provide too much threat with their, kind of holy trinity there, double support Phoenix. For how successful of kind of laning they have elsewhere. Hao is obviously very, kind of in control, but he's facing a 2 versus 1 for the most part. And because of that, I figured that the holy trinity would be a bit more successful, even though Garrosh is not the best solo in the side or over the mid lane, but it's not like Diablo is anything to be too afraid of. So I just feel like LFM should find ways to gain upper hand over the laning situation, because the fact that HeroesHearth is the one dominating over the lane front wall pressure, that is pretty much never should be a true statement with an Ariel hyper carry plus another support composition.
And they made the play towards that double wall there. No bloodlust. Ooh, detainment strike just missing on the BBJ. If he had landed that, Figgy probably could have capitalized. He might have had enough damage to complete the kill. Draded on his way down. 4 members here of LFM. Next altar phase is this bot lane, so HeroesHearth needs to hold and not give up control over the top.
No wild heroic choices here from anybody else. Doc is going to go ahead and remain up in the top half of the map. If HeroesHearth can delay a little bit here, they're going to be in a position where they'll have double soak in the side lanes because Sonya has already made the transition down. This is part of the reason I thought that Diablo, or excuse me, Tyrael would be the pick over the Diablo, is because of the double soak Tyrael's stall out is a lot more threatening along with the sanctification delay. No commitment out of either global yet from HeroesHearth. Aware starts the channel. He will get the channel here for free essentially as HeroesHearth commit to the soak instead.
They need to commit. HeroesHearth, they might lose this bottom altar. I don't know if a Hanzo is enough here. I'm actually surprised LFM is falling back a little bit, but Dahaka, here he comes with the Brush Stalker in. There's going to be the Dragon Arrow. The Cleanse, though, is going to keep T alive, and that is a big response here by HeroesHearth, but they are not out of the woods yet.
They are not. They end up getting the flip there, but there's going to be punishment flip back there onto Figgy. A lot of damage coming through, but the Ancestral hits there right as the drag comes through from McIntyre. Figgy able to stay alive. Now Ishbu going in, getting the charge onto T, interrupt the warp there, but he ends up getting tossed away with the Into the Fray. Combo thrown back, 2-man Groundbreaker. Ishbu still charging in onto T. Ariel getting the heals, forcing the Aegis. He might be in a bad spot there. APAC goes down, lands onto Draded. T ends up falling there after that last Shadow Charge.
They committed so much to getting that takedown. They finally got up with a Detainment Strike, is forced out the Divine Shield, and now Diablo continuing to try and make plays, but he is under assault on the way back. And if you take a look at this, T is the only real damage outside of a Sonya, so they're forced to retreat. Can't dive that much further. Arthlon getting those wingman charges that stacked up, now sitting at 20% bonus damage on that.
It's value right there, and that's part of the split push pressure I was talking about with the wingman value on this map. It's different than other Battlegrounds.
He interrupted his barrel roll.
Did he?
Yeah, I was watching the mini-map. Yeah,
he's still fine.
But the fact that he caught him in there was pretty nice.
Is that a Detainment Strike into a drag right there a little bit?
Yeah.
I was like, hey, would you like the alley-oop here? 10 seconds out, shots dead even between these two teams, 28-28. Experience equal as well. Yeah. The double global going to be looking to try and win the race towards the 13, but I don't know if LFM's going to give them that kind of time of day. Aware's going to start the channel, Scattering Arrow, interrupt number 1.
Ishbu trying to get the Fire Stomp in. How?
Misses.
Yeah, they're not able to get it. This is now the last 2 altars seemingly given up pretty much for free, it seems like.
Yeah, that was definitely the intent, was Ishbu would be able to get that stall, then Dahaka Falstad make the rotation in, but there was nice body blocking and zoning off from the members of LFM and then not using that kind of firestorm at the right angle.
This bot lane is going to force another response. This Sapper camp pushing bottom again. Losing that bot lane control has been much more difficult for a team to obtain that just because of the Sapper changes. It's much more difficult to get it back with a Hanzo. Falstad can definitely help out. Also, Falstad going into that wingman build, Dreadnought, is also going into the ability cooldown reduction whenever his trait is available. So getting that cooldown reduction on potential abilities. Here comes Dahaka one more time.
Ishbu starts the initiation. Draded is going to be the focus first. Isolation goes down onto Ariel. There's the drag and the Dragon's Arrow. Diablo's APOC comes through, but Ariel keeps herself alive with the Aegis. Look at the huge gust there from Arthlon, splitting all the members of LFM. T and Arth in the 1-versus-1. Arthlon's able to trade up there, but Draded comes in with a butt fight, gets this 1-for-1 between the two teams, and LFM has the bell tower converted in their favor.
Major control here. Next altar phase, however, will be triple altar phase. See how effective that will be. The one thing that does help is when you take off the Falstad, you take away his ability to get those wingman stacks. And now we'll see the triple altar phase here in 20 seconds. LFM, they're going to clear out. They're holding their own, still with a slight lead in terms of core health.
Arthlon now back online. Dahaka not considering putting too much work into converting that bottom bell tower back for HeroesHearth Esports. We see a bit of posturing from LFM towards that bottom one. Detainment Strike already used there from Aware, looking to zone off.
And Dahaka, he's going to get the channel up at the top. They will have the global control if they do want to try and force the issue before Sonya makes her way down. Ishbu, there's going to be the charge. He misses into the wall. Dahaka coming in on the backside. Figgy holding his own on the front, receiving the double support. McIntyre not able to find a play. There's going to be the drag. Cleanse directly on to Garrosh, and Crowan diving for his life, Dreadnought.
That was actually Cleanse used at the exact same time there by BBJ to make sure he could make it over that wall. So double cooldown being used to escape, and that looks like it was enough for HeroesHearth to say, this is not our fight. They end up retreating, giving 4 more shots here over to LFM. Now setting the core of HeroesHearth Esports to 16. But look at this stun combo on to Garrosh to catch Figgy out there, and they end up getting the punishment. HeroesHearth Esports by themselves 30 seconds. Oh, my flight.
Arthalon. Even this is crazy. I mean, you have nowhere to gust them into other than their own keep. Arthalon, you are a madman.
The ideal there was to be able to get the flight over and then wait for the minion waves to collapse in, and maybe Arthalon plus 2 more people would have enough time to kind of threaten them off and be like, look, you have nowhere to escape. And we end up getting the kills. Good job by LFM understanding how to make it out of that kind of tight situation for a moment there.
Arthalon's sitting on 3 stacks. They're going to come over here. They're doubling up on Sappers. Yeah, instantly. Hold on, wait a minute.
He's not even going to commit.
He's going to try and use that towards the top lane. So they have the clear. I was thinking, oh, okay, just bonus, you know, get a little bit, maybe get 1 out, stack towards more, because now you're going to be sitting on potentially 4 soon. He's actually at 79 out of 80 stacks. It caps at 80, which is 4 stacks. So you're not going to have that extra, so to speak.
Zappers make their way in, get all 3 value there onto that bottom bell tower. Sonya now making the rotation down, looking to join the ranks of LFM. Ends up half committing. He's going to worry about the soak over mid instead. HeroesHearth take what they can get, and looks like they're comfortable backing out here as we round our next altar phase.
Yeah, Arthalon's going to go all the way to the top, saving his flight, knowing that the altars are going to be active, and your flight is not on a short enough cooldown. Dahaka, he's going to get detainment striked in. There's going to be the spear directly onto that. The gust in. They're trapped behind a wall.
Really good response there from Arthalon, making the rotation down, understanding that there was nobody in range to be able to get the save there. That was the only way McIntyre was able to make it out. Arthalon now got to use the wingman on top, pick up those sappers, and then get the flight down. That gives a lot of information over to the members of LFM. They start the channel. T gets interrupted there by BBJ with the golden frisbee. Attempt number 2, not even going to be completed. Aware, doesn't get it off.
The Dragon Arrow, I think, also got an interrupt there. Now here comes Arthalon. He's in the fight, looking to try and make something happen. The Aware's going to be interrupted one more time by the Sonic Arrow. Arthalon checking the bush. We can see the fight is here. The Salvo going to buy a little bit of space and time, and it's done just that. The Diablo, the APOC is out, Dread.
APOC is out, but nobody's gone down quite yet. There's going to be the Aegis gaining a lot of healing here. Ishbu is going to be first to drop in the fight. Second here is McIntyre. Flip over the third. Crowan ends up going down. LFM find themselves 3 kills for 0 in that trade. Ishbu was able to make it back, buying back with those souls, but now HeroesHearth has 12 HP left on their core. I don't know if they have the momentum in this time. Like LFM, they should be able to paint the map red and just dominate the bottom half of the map, maybe even feint a boss that they'd like.
Things just so much in favor. This is very reminiscent of our Dragonshire game where we saw HeroesHearth get that one big team fight, and sometimes that's all it takes. They're going to see if they can pick on the new guy, How. Just able to get out of the grasp of Ishbu. Whenever you have that Fury available, Dread, you move a little faster.
They're moving faster there, and Hal was able to skirt out of the hands of HeroesHearth. HeroesHearth lose bottom bell tower, but they gain top into their favor.
All right. Normally you want that bottom control. You see that next altar is going to be in that lower mid section. See if we can get HeroesHearth to regain some control. There's going to be more sappers pushing in as that bottom bell tower was converted over. Lots of members here on the side of HeroesHearth. This is now double sapper potentially. You know, they've got defense with the Hanzo and the Falstad, but they're unwilling to commit that Falstad, knowing that that soak is so important as the race towards 20 is inevitable. But now they've got to defend their, I guess you got to defend the core against the sappers is how you're just going to look at it for now. They might have to concede another altar, Dread.
It's a grim picture here. HeroesHearth, they're in a tough situation, and I don't know if they can make it out. Sappers make it to the front wall. 1's cleared, 2's cleared, flipped over 1 by Figgy. Only 1 actual shot obtained out of the 6 shot potentially over that bottom section. 7 seconds out from the altar. McIntyre is now going to make the rotation down with that Dahaka. Hal will sniff that out.
Here we go again. Will Ishbu initiate right out of the gate? We're going to see. There's going to be the Dragon Arrow into the APOC. That is multiple members. They've got their attention directly onto Phoenix. He goes down. Crystal Aegis is there. The Aware's going to receive the Ancestral 4 now, but Figgy is taking so much damage, and Ishbu going in, trying to get the flip and the flop there as he is doing all the damage on Diablo.
But Aware with the heals actually ended up turning that for a small period of time. They lost themselves to Phoenix, so now Hao is going to be the only hope target available. If Hao drops, LFM has no opportunity to take the skirmish whatsoever. HeroesHearth poke and prod around enough here to scare off LFM. Will pick up these 4 shots for themselves. LFM's core now sitting at the 16 shots.
Ishbu single-handed, I mean, obviously the Dragon Arrow started that, but Ishbu's like, look, I get the charge and I get Phoenix. Oh, I'm going for more. Major play there by HeroesHearth, and now they've taken that big team fight. They've gotten control back. This bottom bell tower on the side of LFM, it's vulnerable now. So all of a sudden, we're looking at that bot lane control easily going over to HeroesHearth.
At least it's going to kind of restore the balance here on the top half. LFM got to get this conversion back for themselves, helping with that experience deficit on the race to 20. Hao's probably going to start up the Sappers. End up committing to those. The 20 will be here realistically for LFM. The question is as long as they, can they find a way to not stagger those deaths and force the initiations that they want over the next objective, especially into a double global that controls your bottom bell tower.
Ishbu and team, the bell towers in the mid lane have taken structure damage on both sides of the battleground here. So now with this available, we've got this, Arthlon sitting on 4 stacks, not needed when you've got a Hanzo. He'll go directly over to the left, speed things up just a little bit. So actually, I think he's just going to kind of casually take those and maybe look to play off that. No, there it goes.
28 seconds out from the altars here. Middle is being prepped by the double global of HeroesHearth Esports. They're not actually interested in the shots. They just want to make sure that they control at least one bell tower in their favor.
The thing is, right now, the choke is going to be near the Sapper point on the right middle. That is going to be their only point of entry, and that is exactly, they needed to make their way through immediately. They do. And now you get out of that choke potential. Arthlon's got to be careful, Figgy.
He got the barrel roll. That was the only thing there. If they got that interrupt, that would have been for sure a kill. Channel on bottom, started by BBJ, going to be secured there. Launching 6 shots at the core of LFM. Now, HeroesHearth Esports, for the first time in a hot minute, claimed the advantage at the core HP.
The interrupt is going to be there again. Arthlon is split from the team. They might try and turn the focus. There goes the APOC, followed up. Cleanse directly on, only catching 1 member, but that is Phoenix. T is under assault. T. And he survives with his 20.
He got the shield. Salvo's going to be thrown out. Aegis as well afterwards. A bit of counterintuitive there as it stops the salvo, but T is able to keep himself alive. The healing comes through. BBJ is first to drop, but he has the redemption. T is still being thrown around by Ishbu. He gets the warp out. Now Crowan getting tracked down by Hao with those heals. He's, oh my gosh, going to get the Divine Shield, and now they're looking to turn as BBJ has joined back for HeroesHearth Esports.
T has 9 lives. He will not die. And now the LFM is trapped here, Dreadnought. They only have 1 way out, and that's right there on the right side. But it looks like they've bought enough time. Ishbu, he's going in. The lavas, the stop is not enough. And all of a sudden, we are looking at 9-7. Oh, Dahaka's coming in, Dread. Dahaka's coming in.
Oh, man. Detainment strike deters that. Hao trying to escape by. Ishbu not going to get the initiation. Actually gets flipped over to the wall of death. He gets a pre-cleanse. Stun goes down. Now flip over onto Rhaegar. Traded. Falls low, but the Hellstorm is not enough to get the damage. Now McIntyre trying to retreat out. A lot of damage used. Even the isolation there falling on. Another flip coming out from Figgy. Ishbu throws out that damage. Dragon Arrow used. The fight is real as Arthlon ends up getting the gust, splitting LFM. They use another Storm Shield and survive.
The shields and the double support for LFM have kept them alive in moments they do not deserve to be alive. And now we're going to look at LFM. They're going to convert back the mid bell tower. It's double altar phase up at the top. Remember, depending on how things play out, we could be looking at a Divine Shield ending. There's going to be a couple of Wingman stacks obtained. They're going to put the pressure on the top lane, but I believe that was Gust used there. We do have Epic Mount, which is a much shorter cooldown and a faster flight. So it looks like we're going to try and trade out bottom for top, and Arthlon's going to turn his attention directly to that top bell tower.
He might even have enough to consume 1 shot, judging by how much damage he had onto that bell tower. Actually, all 3 sappers ended up moving through there, so no shots available on the top half of the map. 27 seconds out from what could be the game-ending altar phase, sitting right next to that boss invade here from LFM, knowing that the double global on the top half of the map. Smart play here from LFM. But these altars, that is everything relies on these altars. They cannot give up both of them.
See what LFM does. If they get aggressive, maybe we get a trade here. A boss plus an altar is another consideration. Garrosh, there's going to be the cleanse directly on. Apok is going to be used to buy a little bit of time. Stunned out on that salvo, and Arthalon coming in with a big flank. See if he tries to get the channel on the right. He does, but T is going to sniff him out for now. Arthalon, see if he trades here. Got to be weary of that shield.
Gets the Ancestral Healing and the Isolation. That's a lot of cooldowns being used there. Now Ishbu trying to rebuttal and get the fight back. Arthalon still in the 1v1 with T, but he's trading pretty well for now. How still tracking it down, getting the damage into McIntyre. Ishbu still flaunting around. T keeps himself alive with the warp, but it's all about who can get the channel. Still the fight rages on here to the left-hand side. LFM holds off for now. They start the channel, but you know that interrupts there. Ishbu gets Detainment Striked back. T questioning, can he move up? Arthalon now looking to join back in the fight. Gus, all the members of LFM, but they don't have the follow-up here, J-How.
And we see Falstad still trying to find that opportunity, find that way. Krohn and Arthalon are now split on that Hanzo and the Falstad. Now it looks like both teams conceding, but Arthalon going in for the big play. There's going to be the big single target damage, trying to get on there. The warp in, but all of a sudden on the backside, we see the Aware uses the Crystal Aegis. Big time heal there, and all of a sudden McIntyre, he's under assault here, and LFM is looking to win this fight. T so low.
The Dragon's Arrow misses the flip over on Arthalon. He dodges it with that barrel roll through. The damage on the back end of that is not enough. T keeps himself alive. LFM hold off on a miracle of a team fight here and hold this game out, but by no means are they out of the woodworks. There is so much to be done if they're going to recover in this game, and it looks like the first step in that recovery is going to be starting with the boss. That will set the court even. 2-2 in HP. But the biggest thing now is about that bottom bell tower conversion, because this boss is in the win condition. The sappers are going to be J-How, and when it comes to sappers, HeroesHearth has been dominating over that control.
They've got that bottom lane under assault already, and they're going to go. The sappers are going to help get the takedown. So that bot lane control. Now 5 of the 6 are now under control momentarily. I had to look. Ariel hitting those fatty heals, Dreadnought sitting on that Reservoir of Hope. 9 stacks, a bonus 675 extra healing when that gets stacked up. That's why you see these mini Ancestrals, except they're AoE Ancestrals coming out from the Aware. It's 2 core health to 2, but the control for the moment in favor of HeroesHearth as the next altar phase, Dreadnought, is that bot lane. It is crucial right now for LFM to gain control of this bot lane. If not, this might be the fight they look for.
Figgy needs to be careful. There's been so many moments in this game that he is almost just kind of getting caught out there by the percentile damage that Diablo can threaten. Look at HBU questioning, can he move up? Look for a pick here. How and friends look like they've gotten enough interest there out of that sapper camp. There it is, 30 seconds out from the bottom bell tower, as we have talked about. A little bit of a cheeky play here from the double global, looking for split pressure, but at this point in time, unless it's a 3 bell tower conversion, 1 conversion does not matter here. LFM should give no interest there. It's all about who can start that channel.
There is no retreat point. Surprisingly enough, there's still a well on the side of HeroesHearth, but I imagine these fights are going to be fast and furious. BBJ, remember, you cannot allow a short channel on this altar. There is a D shield. Arthalon, if he gets any bit of this D shield, McIntyre, that's all it's going to take. Do we get it?
Do we see it? There's the Gus, there's the Divine Shield, and that is GG, ladies and gentlemen. HeroesHearth Esports used the utility to send home LFM, but my goodness, did LFM bring out the claws, scrapping throughout the entirety of that game.
Ariel just heal after heal after heal. I'm sneaking a peek of the numbers before we even get a chance. Just the amount of healing that came out there, that Reservoir of Hope during that top fight around that boss, I was like, man, those health bars just keep shooting up. And to get that out of there, you know, it's just credit to LFM for holding on for that long. The amount of time that Phoenix was able to live in some of those team fights, it was insane.
I feel like this is one of those moments, though, that you've got to go, you know, look at Ariel's heals within this game. You'll be like, oh, you know, 93,000, I guess that's pretty good. Look at Rhaegar's, 92,000, that's pretty good. But a Divine Shield, that's priceless.
Yeah, not too bad there.
Because 40,000 on Uther, but you're like, you know, he had those plays at specific moments to be able to turn it around here for HeroesHearth Esports.
How about that Hanzo damage? 130,000 casual. 130,000.
To be fair, I'm a scattering arrow Hanzo on Towers of Doom with 0 frontline threat other than a Garrosh. Like, you ran a double support backline hyper carry comp, like, I just get to fling it. As long as I get
Look,
any
I'm
kind
not
of
killing
autos.
anybody, so I can just keep stacking. And
Yeah.
it's stat padding. Clearly, Crowan had a plan all along, Dreadnought.
Clearly, and it's working out.